Hey everyone, it's Nighthawk. Today we're going to be doing a quick Briar build guide video. This video isn't going to be the most comprehensive build guide or a guide to how to play Briar. It's just going to be basically an overview of the weapons, augments, and passives that I like to pick on Briar, as well as some maybe lesser known tips or tricks that you can do with her. So let's start out with some basic tips and tricks for Briar. Her basic ability heals her and grants faster attack speed and damage reduction. I would use this pretty much on cooldown all the time unless you're in danger from bombs, frogs, or elites. Use this to heal you up. Remember, Briar does get increased movement speed and damage when she's low, but I wouldn't really use that to your advantage all the time. Like, I wouldn't purposely stay low just to keep those procced. I would try to stay as close to full health as possible most of the time, just for safety. Remember that your ultimate can be used anywhere on the map just by clicking R anywhere on the map. So you can go from the bottom left to the top right in about 10 seconds just by hitting R and clicking on the mini map. This will be really useful for stacking things like cross country, or if you just need to get someplace quickly. I like to save ultimate for getting out of hairy situations. If you're nervous, I would save it for that. It's a free full heal and it does a ton of damage against bosses and elites, so you can save it for that. If you think that you'll be fine, you can just use it on cooldown to get things quickly done. Make sure you don't stall out doing damage on elites or stuff like that. And last tip is that your main weapon does damage on both sides in sort of an arc. Try to hit enemies with the center and you'll get overlapping damage from both sides. This actually helps you stack your bleed faster too. All right, let's get into weapon choices because I try to make this pretty quickly. I have them already laid out right here for you. I think they're pretty straightforward. Top tier is your best choice. I think I would almost always pick these if possible. Ubu Blaster is always going to be up here at the top of your best choice. It just does insane single target damage, really good for shredding bosses. Next on the list is Frost Armor. Very, 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 very useful for survivability. It gives you 3 to 4 free hits of damage before you even start to take damage. So probably one of the best weapons in the game. And then right next to that is Static Shiv. And I like Static Sword on Briar because it evolves based off the max HP passive, which you're already getting. So it's a nice weapon in general just to get because you know you're going to evolve it. And it honestly does a lot of damage and a lot of AoE. So really strong weapon on top of that. The secondary tier is things that I would pick up if I thought I needed more damage. Bunny Ballista and the Boomerangs. They do a good amount of damage. They're good at AoE. They should be evolving based off passives you're already going to have. But if you don't feel like you need more damage, you can pass on these. For filler, I put in the Paw Print Poisoner, the Sea Mine, the Vortex Gloves, the Cyclones, and the Radiant Field. These are all ones that I would consider picking up if I needed to, if I just had to fill a weapon slot. I'm not really excited about any of these. The Paw Print Poisoner is interesting for more move speed, but that's about it. And lastly, the Avoid tier, which I think is all of the weapons that I don't think you really should ever pick up. Obviously, you can get them if you want to. It really doesn't matter that much, but I think most of these in order are fairly weak, and there's really no reason to get them on Briar other than, hey, you want to and they're fun. All right, let's move on to passives. Passives are fairly straightforward as well. I think it's almost always required that you get the XP passive, especially if you're playing on Extreme, just so you can reach max level. Without XP, it is going to be difficult to reach the highest level possible and max out all of your weapons and passives. Obviously, you need the max health passive to evolve both your main weapon and maybe some of your secondary weapons, so that's required. Right here in the good tier, we have Armor, Ability Haste, Movement Speed, Crit Chance, and Damage. I think all of these are good choices for Briar. If you're early on in Anima Power, I would prioritize Ability Haste and Movement Speed. These are two stats that you get a lot of for free from Anima Power, but if you don't have Anima Power, then you may be lacking in them. If you do have a lot of Anima Power, you probably aren't watching this video because you already know what to build, but Armor, Crit Chance, and Damage are all good choices for Briar. Down here in OK, we have Regen, Area Size, and Duration. These are all pretty good stats on Briar. Area Size and Duration are actually really strong on her because, one, it makes her main weapon larger, and Duration actually makes your basic ability and your ultimate Frenzy last a lot longer. Surprisingly good on Briar. If you haven't tried that out, give it a shot. You can basically have your E up permanently with either a lot of ability haste or a lot of duration. So very nice to have. And then actively bad. Pickup radius, which is going to be pretty much the same on every single champion except for maybe Xayah, and projectile count. These are just two stats you really don't care about at all on Briar, and there's no reason to pick them up. So try to avoid those if possible. And lastly, we have the augments. I'm not going to go over every single augment just because I don't have time, and they're very, very long to describe every single one. So we're going to go over a few of the highlights. If you're curious, I'm going to put a link to the wiki in the description. You can read over what all these augments do and make your own assumptions based on that. Most of these augments will be fairly similar on most champions, but there are some standouts depending on what champion you play. So first off, if you ever get cross country or ramming runner, please pick them. They are by far the strongest augments in the game. Cross country will give you damage, area size, and max health based on how much distance you move. Very easy to stack this as Briar. It can be crazy amount of free stats. Ramming runner in the same vein will give you insane amounts of free damage, even without supporting augments or supporting passives. You're just getting at minimum like 100 to 200 free damage off of this. So two of the strongest augments in the game. Always pick these. I even pick cross country if it's my last augment, even though it's stacking, just because I think it's that strong. On top of that, you have the pretty good tier: card collector, experienced fighter, gathering speed. These are all ones that I think are okay on Briar, like pretty good. I would pick them. I'm not really excited to get them, but they're better than most of the stuff. Same thing with the okay tier. Most of these are just free stats, but nothing that exciting. And then fairly useless are the ones that don't really give you much benefit at all, or they're power neutral. And then actively bad is I would almost never pick these. These are ones that reduce your stats to give you a bonus and another stat. And I think the stat reduction that they give you is just so heavy that it's not worth picking these ever. So if that was something that you were curious about, a quick augment guide for Briar. I know these are a little confusing. There's a lot of them. Check out the wiki if you haven't already. There are really good ways to make decisions based on that. And I hope that was useful and informative. These are going to be fairly quick videos, basically just describing my thought process on how I pick and prioritize weapons, passives, and augments per champion. Not super complicated, just quick overview if you needed a reference guide. And as always, make your own decisions. Swarm is a game mode about having fun, and min-maxing is fun for some people, but for others, not so much. So if you want to, go all Yumi bot and Searing Shortbow and Animines and train. I'm not going to stop you. Have fun. If you like this video, I'm going to be making build guides for almost every champion, maybe everyone if I can get around to it. And keep track for those. We're going to be doing a lot more Swarm content, some more extreme solo builds, extreme solo Aatrox guides, and like and subscribe. Keep enjoying Swarm. That's about it. Thank you for watching.